Today we will delve into the punk, goth, and emo subcultures. Punk came first. They paved the way for self-expression through chaos and rebellion. Goth and emo evolved from punk's ashes, each taking that defiance and turning it inward in unique ways. To understand the difference between them, we need to go back to where it all started. Follow me to the underground music scenes that changed youth culture forever. Born in England in the mid-1970s, punk was a middle finger to the establishment. It was raw, loud, and unapologetic, fueled by anger, politics, class inequality, and conformity. Punk popularized the pogo dance style. It is a chaotic burst of energy where you jump up and down in place to the beat, often with arms raised, outstretched, or thrashing wildly. There was also a dance called slamming, which is similar to the metal moshing, just considerably more violent. The violence in the dance was controlled though. People would be injured, slammed down to the ground by colliding bodies, but they would always be picked up, quite often by the same person that slammed into them, usually on purpose. Slamming and injuries was all part of the dance. I remember those days well. The blood on my clothes would indicate a good night of slamming. After punk came goth, rising from the post-punk movement in the late 1970s and early 80s. Where punk was aggression and noise, goth was introspection and atmosphere. Bands like Bauhaus, The Cure, and Susie and the Banshees replaced rebellion with melancholy. Their songs were poetic, often dark but beautiful, exploring love, death, and the mystery of existence. Goth fashion became instantly recognizable: black lace, velvet, corsets, dark eyeliner, Victorian-inspired silhouettes, an aesthetic that blended the macabre with the elegant. Goth, though, was never about being sad. It was about finding beauty in darkness. Many goths describe the subculture as spiritual, almost artistic, a place for those who felt too deep, felt too different, or felt too romantic for the mainstream. Goth clubs and festivals today still echo that haunting atmosphere. Not angry, but emotional, expressive, and timeless.
Whispers in static, echoes on wire. You call me broken, I call it fire. You wouldn't understand the silence in my hands.
In the 1990s and early 2000s, the emo subculture formed. Emo is short for emotional. It is an adjective to describe a person who is always into their sad feelings. Emo was born from the punk scene in Washington, D.C., with bands like Rites of Spring and Embrace, putting feelings front and center. By the 2000s, it had evolved into a global movement, with My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore turning teenage angst into anthems. By the 2000s, it had evolved into a global movement, with My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore turning teenage angst into anthems. Emo culture was defined by vulnerability. Here it was okay to be emotional, to cry and to care deeply. The fashion was usually black skinny jeans, dyed bangs, and studded belts. The clothing symbolized that inner tension between sadness and hope. Being emo is an expression for millions of young people, and it is a safe space for the feelings that society often dismissed, and it is an emotional rebellion against numbness. Even today, the emo revival continues, with new generations finding identity in those same emotional chords. Here is a personal note to those who stayed until the end. I grew up punk because I never fit the mainstream, and in truth, most people in these underground cultures don't. Some of us choose to be different. Others simply are just different. But why we are different doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling of belonging. Subcultures are tribes made of outsiders who finally found each other. If you feel different, overlooked, lonely, or just out of sync with the world, don't give up. Your people exist. Your reflection is walking around in strangers you haven't met yet. Somewhere out there, a tribe is waiting to recognize you.